Last time we were filming this bike, we had a problem where the teeth had stripped off this sprocket. I was concerned as to why this had happened. So when we looked a bit deeper, we found this hardened washer, which sits behind the clutch, was actually worn away, which was causing the clutch basket to move and so wear a lot in the way that it had. So I've managed to get along to C&D Autos, which is a really lovely old school shop with a little handwritten label on the. And this is the famous BSA part number, 2 digits followed by 4 digits, instantly recognisable to any BSA owner. So when we compare the old part and the new part, you can see there is a considerable discrepancy. The one that's worn away, the top one, is the old one. And there's the new one. You can see how much thicker that is. So basically, where this one is worn away, it causes the clutch basket not to seat properly. So that explains why you can see this groove that's been worn away on the old sprocket. You see the very shiny bit there, and the teeth are a lot narrower than on the new sprocket. This is often the way. So yes, it would be lovely to film a complete restoration, but you can see this should be a fairly straightforward job, but already it isn't a fairly straightforward job because I've had to source another component, which is obviously a specialised component. Oh, I can't remember what BSA called this, but obviously it's a fairly hardened steel washer with a groove in it, and it's designed to fling oil away from the crank so the oil stays in the primary chain case. So it's got this groove in it which looks like a spiral. You see that spiral groove there, which is designed as an oil flinger. Right, so the first thing to do is get our woodruff key in place. So that will lock the clutch basket onto the gearbox shaft. So this woodruff key fits in the slot there. No idea why it's called a woodruff key. I expect that's a job for Mr. Google, probably the name of the inventor. So that drops in there. Oh, like that. And then we take the back of the clutch, put our blessed oil slinger or oil flinger, whatever it is, on there. So we've got a slot there, and that has to fit over the woodruff key. So that's it, and that's on. That's nice and flat. And a bit of oil on those bearings, the ball bearings there. Now let's get our basket on. That's on. Right, don't forget to put the clutch basket on. That's an important bit. That goes on there. And then the tab washer, which is slightly dished, and you want the dished bit like that. That's on. That feels nice. Yeah. And now the big nut. Now I might need Ricardo's assistance to lock the back wheel in a moment. Ready?
Yep.
So rotate this. So that's at the top. Right, that should do it. Ricky, can you bash my tab washer on, please? Oh. Can you give it a bash? I can't get in there. You're so much more agile than I am. If you put on. This is the new one that we cut to length the other day, so let's hope it's the right length. I've always found chains fiddly. I suppose if you're doing it all day, oh, it's come off there. If you do it all day, every day, I suppose you'd be a bit better, really. But anyway, I know what you do. You'd lay it flat on there. Right, that's now flat on that sprocket, so now I can turn it around. That's it. There. And as if by magic, it's got the little indent here, so there's enough room to get your split link in. This new split link is really tight. I don't think it's the right size. Tight. Too tight. Going in, is it? Yeah, too tight to get in the roll. Probably just a bit thing right there. Okay. So, I don't know why that other split link didn't fit. I didn't think the chains would be that close in size, really, anyway. Right. There we go. Rick, I think this chain's too long.
Go and adjust the gearbox back till it's correct.
Let's get that gearbox back. Right, now we've got to get this bike finished and off the ramp. Get the clutch plates on, chain case on, silencer on, rear chain adjusted. Let's get started. It's been bed blocking for too long, this bike. It needs to come off the ramp.
What's in the queue to get onto the ramp?
Well, my beautiful 1927 Scott, which is languishing under a pile of bits and pieces. So it's always such a mess here because I just run from one thing to another. So it was like our event at Ashford last Easter Monday, and then we were straight up to Stafford for the fantastic 2-day show. I'm hoping that a noted Scott expert will be along to help us with that, because neither of us are two-stroke experts. Right, so this is a corked one, but it's not actually cork. It used to be in the old days. This is some kind of friction material. But you need to kind of get them in the right slots, because obviously everything's a bit old. The clutch basket I bought, the new one, it's actually new to me. It's not brand new. I think sometimes the quality of the new parts isn't really that great. You're better off finding a decent used second-hand one than a new one. It's been maybe made not to quite the specification, the high specification you would want. Last one. There comes the difficult bit, getting the springs done up. And then this bit goes on top, like that, to keep it all together. That's it. It's located on the top of the clutch basket there. This is a original BSA clutch, which has got 6 springs on it. But strangely enough, for some reason, the Triumph 4-spring clutch works a lot better than the 6-spring, which has never made sense to me, because you think 6 springs would be better than 4. But right, let's get these nuts on. It's a really fiddly little job. Got it. Because, as you can see, you can't see the stud there. You have to get that nut onto the stud, even though you couldn't see it, but it's on there. So the idea is they're all going to be about equal. Right, now to get the lock nuts on. There we go. Right, now to get the chain case on. Just found out that I haven't got a gasket, so it's onto the trusty silicone stuff. Try not to put it on too thickly. It'll probably leak like a sieve, but never mind. Offer it up. Get that brake spin out the way. Right, is everything in that's meant to be in? Chain on, clutch working. Yeah, oh yeah, your clutch plates are moving. Right, so the next thing with the chain case is to try to get the screws in the right hole. Right, that's on. Lovely. Oh, great. I've just covered it all in silicone, which is always an issue with using silicone. Needs must. I cannot believe I have been to C&D Autos to buy bits, and then I have been to a Stafford Auto Jumble and I haven't bought a gasket. And I haven't got one in stock. How stupid is that? Never mind. Here, assortment of cheese heads and Allen screws to screw the chain case on. Now I can't remember which one was which. I stuck them in this bit of cardboard so that you know which order they go in, because they are all different lengths. Big ones at the front, yes, that's it, I remembered that. In the order that they are on the cardboard. Oh, look at that. Right number of screws. Bingo. That's a bonus. Right, for some reason I've got a couple of Allen bolts on here, so I just have to find an Allen key. And I've got a special one with a handle on it and everything, which is quite nice, super long. Right, put my inspection cover back on. The chain looks about right, adjustment in there. I've got quite a fine thread on these, be careful not to strip them off. I've got a rubber O-ring on there, so hopefully it's not going to come off when I'm riding along, because I've lost a few of these over the years. That's it. Oh, Vicky, can you give me a hand with this?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, dear. You're a pal. Looks like that.
Bish, bash, bash.
There we go. We're in business. Right, we're just about there. That'll do. Coming down. Ready? I got it. Really pleased to get that off the ramp. Well on the way to starting it up. I just need to put some oil in the chain case once the silicone gasket sealant has gone off, and get the seat back on, some petrol, start it up, because we are hopefully going to France in a couple of weeks on it. So that'd be good.